Welcome to Financials with Ahawo. Thank you for making time to listen to our Financial Wellness Conversations podcast. We are landing the series. Believe it or not, it's been such a rich conversation, and we want to leave you with some thought process, some action points that you need to do. So what's the question that we're talking about today? We're asking you, who is going to manage this portfolio? We've been building this amazing portfolio. You've been thinking through what you need to do, your strategy, who you need to talk to, what you need to change, but who is going to build this portfolio with you? So allow me to take us to a scripture that will emphasize the importance of not working on our own. That's Proverbs 15, verse 22, and it says, "Without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors, they succeed." Some versions go to add that it's not just advisors, but these advisors also need to be wise advisors, because we all know we could listen to multiple things and end up in the wrong place. So how do we come to the place of getting the right people to work with us? How do we come to the place of ensuring that this portfolio that we want to build is not going to be brought down because of who we have on board? So, big question here. Do you want to manage your portfolio on your own? Or do you want to bring people in who can actually help you get to where you want to go? So remember last time, or the other series, we were talking about stewardship. So one of the key aspects of a steward is that they actually allow experts to come into their journey, to support them, to get them where they're going. So what does it take to get an expert? Let's go to Numbers 11. And this is an example that many of us know. And again, we probably know him for another reason, parting of the Red Sea, hitting the stone. But this is an interesting part of his leadership journey. And this is Moses. Numbers 11, verse 16 to 17 says, "Then the Lord said to Moses, 'Gather for me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom you know to be elders of the people and officers over them, and bring them to the tent of meeting, and let them take their stand with you. And I will come down and talk with you there. And I will take some of the spirit that is on you and put it on them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with you, so that you may not bear it yourself alone.'" So this also reminds us that it's not going to be only one person that we work with, but there'll be varied people. And it's important for them to be the right people for us, for them to have the right counsel. One of the things that's important, and we've talked about it earlier in the portfolio growth, is values. That the value system of the people who you bring alongside you will also align to where you want to go. You could be wanting to invest in a certain thing, but someone is like, "No, that's not important, it won't make money." But the reason why you're choosing to invest in that, it's because you know that it aligns to your value system. Remember when we were talking about equities, I mentioned one of the biggest, well, I don't know if I should say investment masters in the stock market for a time, because we know things change, Warren Buffett. When he began his journey, he followed the line of the gentleman who did this whole series on security analysis called Graham. But over time, he met others, Charles, and he realized that he could add a bit more into how he was managing his portfolio, and that way get the outcomes that he so much desired. So stay with me for a bit. If you have certain areas of interest, you need to find experts in that. Are you interested in equity? Who will be your experts? Are you interested in property? Who will be your experts? If it's in the bond market, if you want to go global, if you want to be in the foreign exchange. I remember having a conversation with someone, and they had met the foreign exchange market, very interested. Then they went and removed all their investment and put it there. Of course, we all know right now that's a question mark, because you can't put everything in one place. You have to have that expansion in your portfolio. And then they lost everything. And thankfully, they had the advantage of time to be able to recoup. But who was guiding them such that they ended up with a loss that really, really cost them time? So you have to find experts in that field. Another very important thing as you're choosing the people to work with, remove emotion. Remove the hype, remove the peer influence, and look at, does this person objectively carry what I need? I want to talk about, building my portfolio with someone who maybe has built a portfolio, or someone who is learning how to build a portfolio. Like, can they objectively be able to work with me? Many times people come to me for certain aspects of financial wellness, and I'm like, people, I'm here to tell you, take this path. And some of those parts, I may not be able to work with you. And some of them, I may be able to. So be alert to the reason behind which you're choosing the person who's going to work with you. And I love that example of Moses. God told him to choose people who are already leading. It was not just anybody. He was to choose people who are already leading the people. The people had a certain trust over them, and now they could move with them. If you remember in one of my stories, I told you about how I joined this, I was interested in investing, and I joined this with my friends. And the reason why I could join it is because I knew my friend had done a bit more research than me, and she understood it, and she helped me go into that market of investing. So very key. What do they carry, and where are they coming from with it? Then, do you use the same person, or do you change after time? We all grow. When you were a child, you needed someone to hold your hand to cross the road. But now you're an adult, you need to remember what you were taught in middle school. You need to remember, look left, look right, look left again before you cross. You're growing. So even as your portfolio grows, be willing to move to a new person. Be willing to move to the person who carries what you need for your next level. It doesn't mean that you're not loyal. It doesn't mean that you don't appreciate the people who journey with you. You're just cognizant to the fact that for the next thing you need to do, you need a skill set that this person may not have. And that's just the way life is. We will always need people who are slightly ahead of us in different times of our life. So let me bring you to another scripture, Ecclesiastes 4. And this is verse 9. And it's an interesting one because we use it a lot for the context of our families, but think about it in the context of investment. And it says, just a minute. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone, when he falls and has not another to lift him up. And that's why it's so important to have someone to help you manage your portfolio. Remember, we started as I asked you, are you managing your portfolio on your own? Or are you going to get somebody who is an expert, who will take time to analyze and to build up the content you need to be able to bring you to the portfolio that really works for you? So think about it. Is it a legal person you need to secure you in terms of contracts? Is it an accounting person you need to make sure that the investments you're doing make sense? Or is it someone who will just be good at business and help you to see how can you use business to grow your portfolio? But the important thing is you really have to ask yourself, who am I bringing into this journey? And as you grow your portfolio and as you work with different people, you also have to think about succession. Succession is hard, especially for us in the African continent. When you tell someone to write a will, they're like, do you want me to die? But no, the reason why we do this is so that there is peace of mind for our families. There is rest. Decisions do not become arguments because the person who actually created this has already given us a guide of how things should happen. At some point, remember we talked about the financial life cycle. We've learned about all these other life cycles, but we have to be cognizant to the fact that we have a financial life cycle. When we get to the ages of transfer, 65, 80, we have to know how will this happen. And the person who manages our portfolio should enable us to do this and to do it really, really well. So the big question is, you have this portfolio, but who is ensuring that this portfolio becomes what you want it to be and that you get the outcomes that you desire out of this portfolio? Allow me to share with you an amazing experience I've had. When I began the journey of building my portfolio, to be honest, like most of us, I was just reading, learning, like whatever nuggets I could pick, I would run with them. But over time, I've realized that when I have a dedicated person, a dedicated company, there is accountability to the journey that I'm taking. I'm able to hold myself accountable. I'm able to hold them accountable to the conversations that we're having. And that means then there's a fruitfulness out of it. So as you think about building a portfolio, think about the person who's doing it with you. Thank you so much for listening. I trust, I pray that this series has been so rich. And do tell us what else you'd like us to talk about. Do tell us if this series has really served you, and come into the description and see all the amazing extra content that we have placed for for you there. Thank you for listening. It's Ahawo. God bless you.